My brain can't handle not having something to do, and my
There's still,
newest, coolest spell
I've
slot
still got
levels.
first level spells. I got cantrips. I got, I'm a sorcerer, so I'm charming. Yeah.
True.
We go. Hello, friends. Robert Bevan here, author of the Caverns and Creatures series of comedy, fantasy novels, and short stories. With me is Sam West, and today we're breaking down our picks for the top 5 and one worst. Level 2, Sorcerer Spells. Yay.
This is gonna genuinely be a really hard list. And the reason that is the case is because a lot of these are bangers, and more importantly, you get one of them. You level up, you get level 3, you learn one new spell. So make it count, team. It's gotta matter a lot.
I'm picking the wrong one, but
Mm.
it's on my list are some of the right ones, though.
There
I
are a
feel.
lot of good choices here. I do genuinely think you can pick a lot of these and not be that upset. You can also sub out one of your first level spells for a second level spell, which makes your first level spell list even tighter. So we talked about a lot of banger reaction spells. You probably don't have room for all those anymore. You just go down to shield, you just go down to silvery barbs, and you take a new second level spell ideally when you level up, because then you get 2 cool new things, opposed to 1 cool new thing.
All right.
Well,
What?
I was gonna say, well, I complain about marshals a lot. I do think sorcerers are closer in that, like, oh, when you get a really limited spell selection, it's way more fair than whenever you got wizards that are like, oh no, I get 6 new abilities this level. Only 6? Ah, it's fine.
You wanna kick things off?
Yeah, sure. So again, another important element is you very few lone spells. Another one is meta magic. You have meta magic now. What meta magic you pick matters a lot, and a lot of these are going to reflect what meta magic you probably picked, which is twin spell. My number 5, it honestly could be higher. Again, this list is going to vary depending person to person, but I've Tasha's mind with my number 5 because my god, is this spell good to twin?
Yeah. This made my list. It would have made my list even if it weren't twinnable, but I
Mhm.
did take that into account. And yes, I really like this spell.
Yeah. Fun fact: if you upcast it, no longer twinnable. So don't upcast if you want to
Yeah,
twin it, but you could
that
upcast if you still want to hit different targets or more targets. So that's all nifty.
that applies to a couple spells I picked.
Yeah, the twin is a really finicky little thing. The fact that you can just say 2 things, take a bunch of damage, and sometimes don't get turns is very powerful. It's efficient. It's usable in every combat encounter you will ever have. And that makes it something you can consistently, comfortably put on your sheet and go, I will cast this, and I will not be upset to ever cast this, and I will spend my sorcery points on this, and it will be good. And that is a great place to start for a spell on this list.
All right. Yeah, and what is it? It denies
Move,
them like what?
they get to move, action, or bonus action, not all 3.
Right. But it does damage as well, right?
Also 3d6, yeah.
Yeah. That's so love all of that.
Yeah.
And yeah, when you can deny more than one person this choice and do some damage to them, all the better. All right. All right. I'm gonna get this one out of the way because this is the one I'm picking, but yeah, that's not twinnable. I picked web.
That's not on my list.
Nah, I didn't think it would be. However, we talked recently about web. We did a web video.
Hmm.
I think yes. Here's the problem we had. The anchoring. Now,
Yes.
a couple of people in the comments corrected us on that. It has to be anchored between 2 solid masses or layered across a floor, wall, or ceiling, which makes it usable again.
Yeah.
So,
I don't still think it is. I will I definitely think it is better than what I talked about in that video in that
yeah,
instance specifically. You're right that I wasn't thinking, and we missed that you can anchor it, and that is to floor, and that makes it more
yes.
notable. It is still a relatively smart area. It still has 2 restraints. It doing no damage and being the only spell you get. I do have qualms with. I think that some sorcerers aren't going to love that position. That being said, it
No.
probably can be a little bit better than Tasha's Mind Whip in an average situation, so it's not the end of the world.
All right, not twinnable, but can you use other meta magic with it? Is there any way to expand the area?
That is a interesting question, and metamagic sure is complicated. So we have extend spell increases its duration, empowered spell is increased damage, heightened spell is increased disadvantage on saves, so you can heighten it so that things are more likely to get webbed. You can quicken
Kind
if
of
you want
like
to have a
that.
cantrip action, which you probably just want to quicken the cantrip. Beyond that, no, it doesn't look like it
No,
has any way to increase the area. You can cast it from
that's
further away with
unfortunate.
distance spell, but
No, that's not what I was looking for something with the area, but alas. Anyway, I still like this spell. Probably the one I'm gonna pick. Um,
you're just a web addict. You just want to
yeah,
make semen jokes.
yes,
Okay.
that's and I genuinely think it's a good spell as well.
It is also
I can make
genuinely good spell. It's true.
I can make semen jokes all day long without a web
You don't need
skill.
web for it.
No,
I have another one I think made your list. Did Vortex War make your list?
no, it should have. Well, no, I won't say should have because there were a lot of good options here,
It's true.
and I
And you
considered
only get one
Vortex
of them
Warp. Yes. Oh, why did it make your list?
because you can twin it.
Yeah.
It's Misty said that you can twin, but not for you, and that's really fun. Being able to go from hitting one thing with this with two things with this is really interesting. Now, also opens about 2 million rules question, and I googled it and didn't find great consistent answers. So, I think you pick two targets and they're teleported to the same location. I think is how that works. Now, I think your DM's going to vary on how they rule that wildly. Some DMs aren't going to let it be twinned for that reason, just because like, well, you have to pick the location and then they can't share the same spot. At the end of the day, it does technically interact with Twin Spell, is a banger of a spell in and out of combat, and that I think makes it a consideration. Now, it's not usable in every combat that efficiently, and that ultimately makes it my number 4 instead of my number 8, 3, 2, or 1. I do think it's probably worth getting on your character sheet if you like this kind of effect. I love this kind of effect. I know a lot of people
Yeah,
like this kind of ability. It's great in world exploration. It can be good in some encounters. It should be a decent consideration, I think.
you can pop two guys right in the middle of my web. All
Or
right.
like a blade
I
barrier.
like scatter is one of my favorite spells in the game, and Vortex Warp is like, Scatter Junior.
Yeah.
So yeah, should I wanted
I
it to
think
be on my list.
I think it's a lot better than Scatter. Like a lot better than Scatter because it is so much cheaper. Second level
Oh,
spell
all right.
gets
Yeah, yeah.
one thing that is so much more consistently useful. Like you will care about where one thing is going way more than you care about where 6 things are going on average, I think. I think the power level here is substantially higher than on Scatter. I do think Scatter's a fun spell though.
Yeah,
I think there's lots of fun to be had with Vortex Warp. I think you should
sure,
people if you
absolutely.
haven't played with it, try it out. It's a great time.
All right, let's see what else I've got on mine. I picked Hold Person.
Not on my list.
No,
I
that
know.
even I mean that's got the same thing going, twinnable, but not at higher levels.
But crucially, it only affects people, and you get one of these. So I don't want to spell that if I go into an encounter, I can't cast it at all on my character sheet when I'm playing a sorcerer, is my mindset, right?
Yeah, but I mean, this is, second level spell. I mean, you're going to be meeting people every now and again, or not more than that, regularly, I would imagine.
In an encounter against bears, dead. In an encounter against elementals, dead. In an encounter against insects, giant spiders, dead. Encounter against
Yeah,
reef sharks, it's dead. In an encounter against every kind of low tier monstrosity, low tier beast, low tier, it just doesn't do anything. And
yeah,
as a sorcerer, in the more than probably half of encounters you have where there are humanoids, yeah, it can be great. I want a spell that works in every encounter I have, not just one or half the encounters I have. And that's the problem with Hold Person. If you're like a wizard or something and get more than one new spell, then yeah, you can afford to get a really powerful spell in half of your encounters and use other spells in the other encounters. You don't have that luxury as a sorcerer.
yeah. But still, when it works, it is powerful, especially now that it's twinnable, then it's more reliable. I'll take
Yeah.
that. I'll take that for some encounters over, you
And
know,
then not have second level
something.
spells for the others?
Yeah, I'm
That's
fine with that.
crazy to me.
All right.
I think going into an encounter with no, like, you reach third level, you are going into encounters in a dungeon, you expect to be fighting against undead. You expect to be fighting against, again, beasts, low tier monster kind of stuff. Unless you're going into the bandit caves, unless you're going to fight goblins, this is going to have a high chance of not doing anything, and you're just fine. Like, just, yeah, sure, I can have an encounter where I don't get my newest, coolest features. That
Well,
sounds
I don't
crazy to me.
know. I mean, I'm not basing this on me going into the beast dungeon. I'm just talking about generally across the board. There are encounters with people, and when those come up, I'm gonna feel really cool because I have twinned hold person,
Fair enough.
and I'm okay with that. If I can't use it every combat, I'm totally fine with that.
You just My brain can't handle not having something to do, and my
There's still
newest, coolest spell
I've
slot
still got
levels.
first level spells. I got cantrips. I got I'm a sorcerer, so I'm charming. Yeah,
True.
got my looks.
I definitely don't think Hold Person's is the worst choice you can make. I think if you're picking only one of these and keeping your first levels, I would steer clear of it. But it is still powerful. You're right. There are going to be a lot of encounters you twin that bad boy. And, oh, the three humanoids you were fighting, two of them are now paralyzed, soon to be dead, and the third one is wondering how they can get out with their life. So
Or one of them makes the save, but you still got one. Okay,
we
your
are
turn.
very diverged. We are just like
Yeah,
going
I
way
think
different directions.
all we've got is Tasha's mind whip between us so far.
Yeah, we talked about 5 spells already. That's insane. This one I'm expecting made your list. It's invisibility.
Yeah. Okay.
That's my number 3, surprisingly. Not my number 1 here.
Yeah. It is twinnable though, right?
Sure is.
That's good.
Yeah.
But I mean, aside from that, it's invisibility.
Yeah. It's very powerful. It changes the game on a fundamental axis. Once invisibility enters the table, your DM has to DM differently. There are encounters, and mainly out of combat encounters, that are just wildly shifted on their head whenever invisibility is added into the equation. Giving this to you and your rogue, giving this to your rogue and your, ranger, giving this to 2 characters in your party to go do different invisible shenanigans together is a really efficient way to get around out of combat. It will be a ubiquitously powerful tool for the entire rest of the game that you will be glad you have access to. And that's why invisibility, I think, is such a notable and critical spell to talk about when we talk about these lists. I don't think it's that riveting. Honestly, I don't think I'm taking it here a lot of the time just because I don't like that it doesn't do anything in combat that much. It can set up an encounter or two, but like I want my spells to do things in encounters. It is so powerful out of encounters though, and that whole other axis of play that like I would want something to be good there, and this is definitely good there.
Yeah, it's invisibility. I don't really have a lot to add. We know why we love it.
It's real good.
Um, what else do I have? Oh, I got my last pick. I chose Rhymes Binding Ice.
That's my number 2.
Okay.
My number 1's not
All
on your list. That's disappointing.
All right, but Rhymes Binding Ice again. With this one, no, not twinnable, but it's just a cool spell.
This is
Does
a
it?
very, very powerful ability.
Yeah.
It does like
Freeze
half of a
people to
web
track.
with damage. Like it hits a 30-foot cone. It's enormous. Oh my god, it's so good.
Yeah, that's half of a web plus damage. I hadn't thought about it like that. That's certainly giving me something to think about here.
Yeah. It roots a whole bunch of things, does a way better area than web does. Like a 30-foot cone is gigantic compared to the 4 squares you get in web.
Yeah,
And that's not just a dunk on web specifically. That's just saying this spell's utterly cracked. 3d8 cold damage is enough for a 2nd level spell. It hits a big area. It has not only going to kill a lot of little things, but it's going to deal and like restrain other things that you care about restraining. They're going to have to waste actions to break it while you can just
that's
kick their ass. Like it's very, very powerful. It's an effect
that's
that you are
the
going to want on your sheet.
yeah, that's the thing I like about it. That it's not like, oh, they have to make a saving throw. No, they have to use up an action, or somebody else has to use up an action to free them,
Yep.
and that's worth something.
It is, if they fail the first save, they're always wasting actions.
Yeah.
Unless they can shoot you.
Yeah.
So pick your angles. It is also, again, this is a spell you will not have problems finding uses for. If you are ever in a combat encounter, this has a very good use because it's going to be good because it hits a gigantic area. So yeah, another spell that you will regularly be able to always cast every single adventure you ever go on.
All right. What's your big one?
Number 1, this spell is great in combat. It is great out of combat. It's great for circumnavigating combat. It is regularly the most castable spell on your sheet, and you can twin it. It's Suggestion.
Suggestion.
Suggestion
Yeah, yeah.
is disgusting on sorcerers. You're already a charisma caster, so you like doing the whole social thing. This gives you not only a big social tool in your toolbox, this also just lets you adjust how things feel about you in the middle of an encounter, in the middle of a combat. You can get people to yeet themselves out of the encounter and not come back until 8 hours from now. You can make 2 creatures decide this encounter isn't for me and to leave of their own volition. That is an unbelievably powerful effect that I will take over Hold Person whenever I can also do all kinds of these stuff with this thing as an exploration tool, as a social tool, as a whole other. If you can, it's something I understand you can get something out of Suggestion. It's very, very, very powerful.
Yes, I did consider it, and I probably should have put it on the list, but I just like all the ones I chose better.
I don't think there's a single dud on any of these, and it's a real shame you only get to pick one new one.
Is a suggestion the one you're picking?
Yeah, almost always.
Yeah.
I also am I will acknowledge that I might have a blind spot for the spell. I love this thing. This is probably one of my top 3 favorite spells in Dungeons and Dragons. So like, if I get an opportunity to cast Suggestion and twin it, yeah, I'm all in on that character. Almost every single character I play has a charisma of 16 or higher. Doesn't matter if they're a rogue, doesn't matter if they're a druid, they're gonna have a high charisma. And Suggestion goes right along with my bread and butter playstyle.
All right. Well, that brings us to worst. Or well, let's go through our list again.
Sure.
What did you have?
So number 1, Suggestion. Number 2, Rhymes Binding Ice. Number 3, Invisibility. Number 4, Vortex Warp. Number 5, Tasha's Mind Whip.
That's a great list. I have Hold Person, Invisibility, Tasha's Mind Whip, Web, and Rhymes Binding Ice.
And it's also a great list.
Thank
This is
you.
the list I think we've diverged the most on that I'm happy enough with for both of us. Like, I don't have any
Yeah.
that I would want to berate you for, I don't think.
All right. Now, what would you want to berate someone for?
If they put this on their sheet as their only second level spell, I'm going first. It's probably Pyrotechnics.
All right, I chose Pyrotechnics as well.
Oh,
Is
okay. I can pick a different one if you want.
Um, yeah, you might as well, because I mean, I looked at the list, and this isn't as bad as our usual worst.
Yeah, that's
I
true.
mean,
This is a step above non-castable.
yes.
That's not bad.
Well,
It's
no,
not.
it's still pretty bad.
Yeah, it's still horrendous, especially again considering this is the only thing you get, and it's on the same level as a cosmetic cantrip. That's pretty atrocious.
Yeah.
Like Pyrotechnics is fireworks or smoke. Smoke is the bad fog version of fog cloud, and fireworks is they make a con save or are blinded for a single round.
Yeah.
Nope. No, thank you. That is sure not worth a second level spell known for sorcerers.
But it is a condition, and yeah, I was looking for something worse, because there's almost always something worse than that. But yeah, this is what I came up with this time. What else do you got?
Yeah. I'm checking over the whole list as we speak, try and find another one that is equally this bad. I will say Dark Vision is atrocious, but I think the one I'm going to land on is Warp Sense.
Oh
Because,
yeah, all right.
oh boy,
I
this spell doesn't work at 95% of tables. At the tables that it does work at, it still doesn't do enough. So,
I considered warp sets too.
yeah, this lets you detect the presence of portals within 30 feet of yourself. You can make a DC 15 ability check to try and figure out where it's going, and if you fail it, you don't learn where it's going. I would say an Arcana check probably should do that already, but hey, here we are. Also, if the thing is within a foot or more of stone, you can't detect it. So, bummer. Yeah, this spell doesn't work even in like Planescape. Like, I don't know when you would actually want this on your sheet for a real adventure. I just don't see it because portals to other worlds aren't just going to be lying around in such a fashion that your DM isn't going to be prepared or excited for you to find them and go through them, right?
Actually, I shouldn't give any spoilers, but there are portals in the book that I'm currently writing that are just hidden, lying around.
I want it to be very
Warp.
well and clear, and you can attest to this. Writing and Dungeons and Dragons
Oh
are
yeah,
two
yeah.
very different things.
Yes.
What a D&D narrative looks like and what a story about a D&D narrative looks like are not they are not one for one. You're not going to get the same outcomes in either of those worlds.
Absolutely, which is why I say time and time again, no, I would not be a good dungeon master.
Things just aren't that as transferable as you think, you know?
No. All right, well, that was our list. Level 2 Sorcerer Spells. Thank you, Sam. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. Let us know what you think about our list. Let us know what's on your list and whatever. Like, subscribe. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.